Hey guys, Mr. Haynes here. Today I'm going to talk about how to write speech in your writing. Okay, now there's a few different ways we can write speech. One that you're most familiar with is probably using speech bubbles, which you can see here in this graphic novel. And this is where they draw a picture and then they have kind of a little bubble coming up from the person who's speaking it, saying it. Okay, and this is a really easy way to include speech because all the information is there that we need. We know where they are, we know who's saying it, okay? But the challenge is that graphic novels, of course, take a long time to draw and make, all right? And you might not have time to draw all those pictures. So if you are doing a lot of speech, a lot of things people are saying, you might want to do it in a different way, okay? And we're going to talk about all the different ways you could do that right now. All right, so here we have, I want a cookie. Okay, this is something someone would say. Now the first way we can include this speech in our text is to do a picture with a speech bubble. So maybe I'll draw a picture of Mr. Haynes here, okay, and I could do a speech bubble and I would put, I want a cookie. Okay, I want cookies. So then you see I've got my picture and I know that I am saying I want a cookie. I might actually draw around where I am as well so people know exactly where I am. Okay, now again, you might not be able to do that because you might have lots of speech in your writing and then you can't draw all those pictures, right? But so there's other ways we can do speech in our writing. If you just put the speech, though, the same as a graphic novel, then you're missing out on a lot of information that's important, like who said it and where they are. So it might be hard to follow your story, okay? So that's why it's important to write your speech like this, okay? So say I am saying I want a cookie. So I write, I want a cookie. And then after it, I'm going to include who said it, okay? So said Mr. Haynes. And now I know who said that in the story. But it's important that we add a little bit of punctuation here so we know exactly what I'm saying. So the first thing we're going to add is quotation marks. Okay, and these are two little kind of commas. They look like commas that hover in front of what I'm saying and afterwards. Okay. And then we also need to add a comma after what I'm saying. So we've got our quotation marks on either side and then our comma afterwards. And you need to make sure the quotation marks are after the comma. So now it goes, I want a cookie, said Mr. Haynes. Okay? Now, we can also add different punctuation. Say we want to say Mr. Haynes really wants a cookie, and we want to say that he's saying it with a lot of excitement and anger. Okay, so then I'd erase my comma. Instead of the comma, I would add like a question mark, like that. So now it reads, I want a cookie, said Mr. Haynes. Okay, now again, if there was a question, you would add a question there. So instead, if I want to say, can I have a cookie? Then instead of an exclamation mark, I put a question mark after that. Okay, now we can also add different words than said to really describe how someone's saying it. Okay, so let's do it again. I want a cookie. Okay, now say that I'm really excited about this cookie. Okay, I really, really want it. So instead of saying said, I might add a word like shouted. So I want a cookie, shouted Mr. Haynes. Okay, and don't forget the period at the end of the sentence as well. Now it reads, I want a cookie, shouted Mr. Haynes. And that's a lot more interesting, okay? And we're saying who is saying it, all right, which is really important. If you just write down all the things people are saying without including who is saying it, it's really hard to follow, okay? So last, I want to show you all the different words you can use instead of said to make it more interesting. We can have ordered, agreed, shouted, cried, thought, questioned, pleaded, whispered, mumbled, giggled, roared, screamed, and asked. Okay, and exclaimed. These are all words you can use to say how someone said it to make it more interesting. Okay, So I hope you enjoy, and I hope to see some speech in your writing. All right, thank you very much.